This video will contain spoilers for Arc 4 and 6, so if you're anime only, I highly recommend you click off the video. We all know that Roswaal's goal is to kill the dragon. This is something that we learn at the end of Arc 2. And of course we know that this dragon is in fact the divine dragon Volcanica. The main question is, what is the actual reason behind killing the dragon, and what does it have to do with putting Emilia on the throne? Of course we learn from Emilia that the main goal for her becoming queen is being able to access the blood of the dragon. This is essentially the panacea which can cure all problems, from growing crops to unfreezing the elves in Elia forests. However, Emilia becoming queen and forming a covenant with Volcanica will grant her access to Lugunica's dragon blood reserves. In other words, you do not need to kill Volcanica to access the blood, since it will be provided to Emilia once she's crowned as king. What we learn from Arc 6 Chapter 90 from Beatrice is that there's in fact two different types of dragon blood, one which can be obtained from Volcanica naturally, and the second one is a more purified version which can only be obtained by killing the divine dragon and siphoning off its blood as it dies. Of course, in the ReZero story, this has a weird implication, as it implies that there is more than one Volcanica or more than one divine dragon. Tappei has also confirmed that Roswaal has read every book in the Forbidden Library, so any information that Beatrice knows, Roswaal will also know. Therefore, we can assume that Roswaal wants to kill the dragon in order to obtain this super dragon blood for his goal. Now, some of you may have spotted this contradiction. If Emilia became king, she would obtain the super dragon blood, so Roswaal wouldn't need to kill Volcanica for the super dragon blood because he could access it through Emilia regardless. However, here is the most interesting thing. We know that the royals of Lugunica were all stricken with a deadly disease which killed them all. In fact, things were so tense, they sent Reinhard to the Pleiades watchtower to meet with Shula to get a cure for the disease. Now this makes no sense, considering they would have access to the super dragon blood which can cure any disease. There's only one answer to this, however. The royals no longer have any more super dragon blood, and therefore that's the reason why they couldn't cure the disease. In fact, a common theory, if we look at the ReZero theory iceberg, is that the disease inflicted on the royal family was in fact orchestrated by Capella, the Sin Archbishop of Lust. And as we learn from Arc 6 Chapter 90, is implied that normal dragon blood can cure authorities inflicted by gluttony and revert the flies back to humans in Pre-Stellar. So if the royals had access to the super dragon blood, they could have easily cured the disease. In fact, this makes even more sense, because if there's no super dragon blood left over and normal dragon blood can cure the disease, where would they get the normal dragon blood from? Volcanica. And where was Volcanica? Volcanica was on the Pleiades watchtower, so they couldn't get that either. And of course, with no dragon blood available, everyone died. This therefore goes back to the idea of Roswaal needing to kill Volcanica to get a new quantity, a new batch, so to speak, of true dragon blood. Again, referring back to chapter 90 of Arc 6, we know that Echidna knew the process in which the covenant with the dragon had to be formed, which implies she had some connection to the royals of Lugunica. On top of that, we know that Roswaal possesses the Book of Wisdom, and he knows that he needs to make Emilia queen, and he needs to kill the dragon. So again, his Book of Wisdom could have told him that he needed to do these things in order to access the true dragon blood. Building upon that, when Emilia becomes king and forms the covenant, when Volcanica comes to form the covenant in person, that's when Roswaal will tell Ram to borrow Rem's horn, and then she'll become an Oni god and allow her to have enough strength to kill Volcanica, therefore completing the mission. So this allows us to move on to the next actual question. We understand that Roswaal's goal is to kill the dragon, so why does he have to kill the dragon? What is he going to use this true dragon blood for? And that's where the common question is he going to use it to revive Echidna, the Witch of Greed? We know that Roswaal is enchanted by Echidna, so there's a possibility he wants to use the blood to resurrect her. However, this is where things get interesting. Tappei has actually stated that if Roswaal knew that Echidna had been reborn, he would still need to kill the dragon for his plan, and that Echidna being resurrected and Roswaal killing the dragon are unrelated to each other. Also, for those of you that are confused by my statement about Echidna's resurrection, at the end of Arc 4, when the barrier of the sanctuary was removed, Echidna took control of the original Ryuzu's body, which was in the crystal, and renamed herself Omega. She then proceeded to roam around the world with the necklace which contains the souls of the other witches. Echidna and the other witches will also be returning in Arc 11, and I will also be covering the side stories pertaining to Omega soon also, so do look forward to that content. I believe Roswaal's goal with the true dragon blood is to resurrect Echidna. Now, I know that some of you are wondering if I've just contradicted myself, because Tappei just said that Roswaal's goal for killing the dragon is different than if it was to know if Omega was alive, and regardless if he knew that Echidna existed, he would still need to kill the dragon. So it makes no sense for resurrecting Echidna if Echidna has already been resurrected. Now here's the most interesting thing. Tappei considers the Witch's Tea Party Echidna to be different than the Echidna in the tomb. They are separate entities and they are different people. This makes sense, since Roswaal's plan wouldn't be affected if he knew that Omega Echidna existed, because that Echidna isn't the teacher that he desires. He desires the tomb Echidna. We know at the end of Arc 4, Roswaal has a talk with Beatrice asking about whether or not she would like to meet with their teacher again. We don't see their actual contents of their discussion, but the fact that Roswaal knows that there's a chance to meet their teacher again, despite literally standing in front of her corpse, implies that he has a way to bring her back to life in some form or capacity. And again, this links back to the only way to do that, which is theoretically using the super dragon blood by making Emilia queen and using that chance to kill Volcanica and then reviving the Echidna that was in the tomb. We also know at the end of Arc 4, Roswaal said he will personally make sure Echidna's body is looked after, so he's in possession of Echidna's body. If you've watched my Everything We Know About Arc 7 video, you'll know that Roswaal will have a prominent role, especially since he will be fighting physically. The only person in question that Roswaal might fight physically is someone that he can't use magic effectively against, such as Sphinx, a failed ryuzu clone that Echidna tried to pour her soul into. At the end of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, a previously untranslated side story which has just been translated, Sphinx is present, so it's implied that she'll make an appearance during Arc 7. This of course means that we'll get more backstory on Roswaal and Sphinx and more information regarding his plans and, in my opinion, his goal on resurrecting the Echidna in the casket at the end of Arc 4. I hope you enjoyed this theory and look forward to more ReZero content, so feel free to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.